Morgan, do you know Italian?
I don't, yeah, I had a wonderful coach who was Italian, and she was extremely patient both with my dialect and my actual Italian pronunciations. Italian. I studied Spanish in high school and a little bit in college, and so I thought, oh, it's a Romance language. It's both Latin based. I'll be fine. I found it incredibly difficult to actually credibly pronounce Italian because they have these double consonants that are pronounced differently, and it's a strange idea to Americans elongate vowels. English speakers elongate vowels. We don't elongate consonants. I mean, I guess in some sort of like colloquial cases we might, but that was tricky. And she was.
So, how will they view you when they show this there? Will they
I
go, "Oh
assume that
God"?
they will laugh at me and sort of elbow each other and say stupid Americans. But I don't know. My hope is that they're like, ah, you tried. You know what I mean?
You
That's
try.
yeah.
That's
People.
always the best, right? How you have such an eclectic career. How do you fit all of these things in? How do you make sure that a year has a lot? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you get done in a year. How do you work that?
I mean, on a life level, my mother lives quite close to me, and my wife and I rely on her enormously to take care of our child sometimes when we need it. But yeah, it's you know that doesn't always happen. Like there's you want a nice balance of a year where you do some TV, maybe you do an independent film, maybe you do something a little bit larger, and I think that's what I and my team strive for. But it's tricky. It's tricky times. It's always a balancing act.
So when your wife has a role,
Yeah.
do you then not work, or how do you deal with that?
I mean, sometimes, the truth is we've mostly gotten pretty lucky where my periods of being really busy have coincided with periods for her where she's not as busy. That has mostly worked out just because, even working actors don't work that much. Uh, but except for I guess the most the workingest actors. But yeah, mostly we've gotten lucky. But yes, that has been there are going to be times when one of us has to say no to something, or when we have to say, okay, like we're going to pull our daughter out of school and we're going to hire 7 nannies and we're going to go live in wherever it is.
You're going to be like the Russells, is what you're going to be, right?
Yeah.
Then what is it like when you work with her? Is that difficult?
No, it's been wonderful. I mean, we met that way. We were colleagues and sort of artistic comrades before we were romantically involved. And so that I think that capacity to work together and sort of partner creatively has always been sort of in the DNA of our relationship. So it's lovely when we get to work together.
And this kind of film, where does this fit in then all of those things that you do?
Well, this film is that sort of rare jewel where you're working with friends. Brian and David are very good friends of mine and have been for a long time. And I love them dearly and would do anything with them. And I also thought this script was fantastic. I think, the two Americans abroad who we are asked as an audience to stay with morally and emotionally, even as they do unimaginably horrible things. Uh, I think that I mean, there's comedy, there's obviously just like great, Nick and Andrew being hilarious comedy. But there is also, I think, like trenchant critical wit there as well about what America means in the world, actually.
Right.
And so I thought the script just on the page was brilliant, and I loved what Brian and David made.
Well, quick advice for going to Italy. What should you do?
What should you do? I think, find a small country pizzeria with a single lonely proprietor, and try
Kill
not to.
them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bruce. Nice to meet you.